All right, welcome. This is Nagle. Homework solution number 4. Late for his fantasy football draft, Mr. Awesome Guy starts from rest. V initial. So I'm going to write V initial is 0 and accelerates at a rate of 10 meters per second squared. Here's my A. After 5 seconds, there's my T. He is spotted by a policeman. How fast did he travel before he was spotted? So how far, not fast. I read my own handwriting. How far? So that's G, right? Did he travel before he was spotted? And then, how fast was he going? So then it asks you to find V final. So we got 2 things we're looking for. Let's see if we can find our 3 things that we know. V initial. Starts from rest and accelerates to 10 meters per second squared. And after 5 seconds, he was spotted by police. He's having a really bad day. You only travel for 5 seconds down a road and you're getting pulled over. You must be in a neighborhood or something like that. Alright, so how far did he travel before he was spotted? Okay, so we're looking for D. Let's work on this first one. We don't know what D is. What do we not know? We don't know actually what his speed was when the cop clocked him going a certain speed. So we don't know V final for now. So since we don't know what that is, not given, this means you're going to look at these problems and find the ones that have V final in them and get rid of them. Don't choose that. So we're going to look at the final equation. The final equation says T is equal to V initial T plus 1/2 AT squared. Alright, well notice that we can start to eliminate some stuff right away, but just to be very clear, I'm going to substitute in values. So my distance I traveled, I do not know. Leave that as a D. My V initial is 0. I multiply it by a time. 0 times time is 0. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to plug in 5 meters per second right here. So, because I actually am given time. 5, not meters, so 5 seconds. Seriously. Times 5 seconds plus 1/2 my 10 meters per second squared times my 5 seconds squared. And you don't want to forget that the squared goes into all parts, here and here. And I'm going to bring my recording up over my picture. Alright, so this middle term cancels out to 0 because 0 times anything is 0. So big fat 0 right there. Now I have kind of an easier problem. My distance is equal to 1/2 10 meters per second squared times, I'm going to multiply this out right now, or bringing 25 and second squared. Is there a question? Right, for the first question, it said how far. Yeah, I did the same thing. So we're actually, the question that the student was asking was up here, how far. So the first question is distance, and the next information was how fast. So there was actually 2 pieces of information. So we're trying to solve for how far, which means, yeah, before we can figure out how fast he was going. So he didn't travel very far, hopefully. We'll just check. So now I'm going to take my 1/2, multiply it by 10 meters per second squared, multiply it by 25 seconds squared. If you notice, my seconds squareds cancel out, so I do have a really cool unit left over, meters, and that's what distance is measured in. So when I multiply that out, I have distance is equal to 5, or 1/2 times 10 times 25, which is 125 meters. There's that answer. Alright, so now I gotta figure out, so I can actually, if I wanted to, I could put right over here 125 meters. Now it says, I also have to find out how far he went. So what's another thing I can do? Alright, let's find out how far he went. So I'm erasing this part, and I'm writing in 125 meters. Alright, I'm going to erase this part so I can give myself some room to study. Right. I have a really lame eraser sometimes. So now we're doing the second part, how far. And you can take information that you now have found for it and solve, or I could say this. Well, if I'm looking for how fast versus how far, I've already found my how far. My D is 125 meters. Let's see how fast he was going. So if I don't know what my V final is, I can do this a couple of ways. I can take the information from my distance and solve for it. So I'm going to erase these equations. And I can basically choose almost anything I want because I have all these other variables that I can use. Let's do the easiest one. The easiest one is this top one. So I can say my V final equals my V initial plus AT. My V initial, it was actually 0. So that was 0 because it was right over here. So that's 0. Cool. Now I plug in what my A was. So my V final is equal to my acceleration, 10 meters per second squared, times my time, 5 seconds. Let's check out the units. 1 second cancels out over here, 1 cancels out over here. My V final is 50 meters per second. That was the end.